Good morning. It's been a while. Yes, it has. There's been a lot going on in the TG camp, and it's been uh, it's been busy, real busy. Next 3 months is going to be really a big 3 months. A lot of external activity, sort of out of the engine room and into the wild, so to speak, uh, connecting. And so, anyway, enough of the excuses of, well, I've had a slack attack, as my Uncle Nick used to say, on being distracted. Well, distracted for good reason. Um, Nonetheless, it's all about consistency, which I do preach constantly. Sometimes we have to move some things out of the way, but back in the saddle in a number of respects. More the transactional rather than building sort of part of my existence. And we have a beautiful morning here on the GC, as is kind of typical, part of the reason that I live here. And weather's starting to warm up, mid-20s over the next week, and the minimums are getting higher, which means we're heading towards summer, which is awesome. And my little guy, Arky's going to be up next week. In fact, on the weekend, on Saturday, he flies in. So very much looking forward to that, spending a week with my son. So, Thrive. Well, for those of us that ask a lot of questions and ask why, the seekers of the world and the truth seekers that keep drilling and probing to the point where they drive some people crazy. And I'm okay with that, because all you're driving crazy really is an ego. But it's fascinating to watch this documentary on the weekend that I was introduced to, and was a documentary done in such a moderate, factual. I think it'd be very difficult to write it off as it's not according to the current narrative that we've been tranced into. The frog has slowly been boiled over the decades. But it was just done so well to bring a lot of the things that I suspected and saw bits of sort of evidence of, a lot of it circumstantial, to then seeing a bunch of facts and evidence put together in a beautifully compiled documentary. Got to say, it'll be up in the top 5. In fact, it might even be the top documentary I've ever watched. It's one of the most ever watched online documentaries, if not documentaries in general, including the standard free-to-air media in the world. It's like almost 100 million views that their first documentary had, and that's a documentary done called Thrive 1. If you look up thrivemovement.com, you'll see it there, and you can see it for free. And Thrive Movement was put together by Foster Gamble and his wife. I think it's Karen? I can't remember. But Foster comes from one of the big families, or the big companies of the world, Procter & Gamble. So like Unilever, the competitor to Unilever, of all retail products, massive retail conglomerate. Sorry, now it's a bit dark. Let me flip. There we go. And so, obviously that apple fell a little further from the tree and went a little alternative, asked questions, and a lot of stuff that he didn't believe existed that have not been in the interest of humankind. And I get a little pissed when I hear about this shit, right? I don't mind using the explicitive, because I want to put some emphasis on it. What humankind has done to itself kind of really pisses me off. And so even Foster himself thought, what is this? Some conspiracy theory crap some sort of hippie shit that's going on here that's, not part of the normal narrative. Let's just say the generally programmed narrative. Okay, I'll compromise on that. That's as far as I go. But God, how dare you ask why? How dare you challenge ever someone that asks why? That's a disgrace in itself. Why? Because it questions authority. And authority doesn't like being questioned. So, stiff shit, bad luck. Who cares? Anyway, before I start firing up, you need to. Need to? No, bad word. I implore you, I highly encourage you to get an education and watch this documentary. If you don't like it, let me know. You can troll me, don't care. I think you're going to go, a lot of you that have not seen this before go, oh. Some of you are going to go, no way. This can't be true. Some of you are going to go, oh my God. Some of you are going to go, yeah, well, I kind of knew that was happening, but I'm doing nothing about it. Right? I mean, that's kind of like one of the biggest sins, I think, is to just coalesce. Because while you're coalescing, the rest of us, the rest of humankind continues to suffer. It's about family protectionism. I get it, but who's going to look after the family's family and the family's family? Right? If something doesn't get done about certain things that need to change in the world. And here we are with that big wake-up call that happened to manifest in this thing called COVID that really put pressure on the system and where people's attention went into other places to go, oh, didn't realize that was going on. So this Better Tune In is really all about that. I saw the second version, as in Thrive. I saw the second version of Thrive on the weekend. It was a world premiere on Saturday night. Invited by a good friend, and went to do that with friends somewhere. And it's really interesting how there's been a lot of technologies. And I love technology, but a lot of tech that has been buried because it threatened current industries. Can you believe that? The stuff that could really serve humankind, great ideas, that whenever they were a threat to another existing industry, they would be squashed, pushed, paid off to be made illegal somehow in the system, all that stuff, right? With people worrying about themselves, regardless of if it's going to impact anybody else. That is it's a fucking disgrace. So Thrive 2 will be an eye-opener for you as well. It reviews a bit of what was in Thrive 1, and I think you had to pay $25 US for it or something like that, for a fantastic eye-opening education. And you can start to see that a lot of things like around energy, where, for example, Tesla, I've said this once or twice before, but for other people that haven't listened before, was busy working away on free energy, electricity out of the air. This isn't bullshit. This is real. It's been proven. And I've seen it demonstrated. And other sources of energy is a huge threat to the big energy companies of the world. Same as pharma. Anything that's kind of healthy that reduces market potential gets quashed or people go missing. That happens also in the energy area. And it was fantastic for Foster Gamble to be able to shed light on something that he went and tested to decrapinate it, to de-bullshit it, and what he had to go through to make sure he earned the trust of this individual, to show this form of energy that was powering a community, and it was free. But yeah, the story with Tesla was that JP Morgan funded $150,000, which back in, 1930, somewhere around there, would have been a lot of money. Morgan of Chase Morgan, they own that bank, right? They do the Rockefellers own Citibank, and who's the other one? Rockefeller, and then Carnegie owns another one. Just three of the big families in the world that own the world. How Tesla was working on this, and once Morgan found out, he decided to pull funding, and basically Tesla died a pauper because he wasn't working on things that would make people money versus he was working on stuff in the interest of humanity. And so, and the reason why Morgan wanted to do that was because he had huge reductions in copper wire, and of course, electricity, wire goes together. That's the one. That's the one I want, and the one I'm going to drive. So he pulled the funding. Fair enough. Capitalism for you. And anything that threatens anything around that, this sort of thing tends to happen, right? Pulling back progress of humanity and what's best for humanity. It's not about what's best for humanity. It seems to be what's going to line my pocket and how am I going to control and own versus, how am I going to help the planet be a better place. That's where we went wrong. And unfortunately, some dark forces have supported that, but things seem to be changing at the moment. And it seems to be getting faster. So anyway, I think I'm going to leave it there. Bit of a straight and serious one this morning on some stuff, but I'm all about shedding light, being a seeker, and asking the question why a lot to find out what the real drivers and motives are. To educate and bring some of, that's why I love technology, at least those that have been revealed to us or we've been allowed to play with. Like, we're little kids in the schoolyard that are only allowed to play with certain things. Like last time I checked, I was an adult and I get to choose. And so do you. So that's about it, guys. Go and watch Thrive 1, Thrive 2. Actually, we're Thrive 2 and then watch Thrive 1. And get an education on the system that we live in and some of the great things that I think are sitting just in front of us in this lifetime that I think are going to be absolutely world-changing. What a fascinating, exciting, wonderful time to be alive. Where even though we've got some clearing of the decks to do, and of course we have this big US election coming up, interesting first debate, and there's a whole lot of game playing going on there, but may the best man win, and hopefully that will be as much as possible in the interest of humanity, because a lot of it's going to be influenced by the decision in that election, and I think we're in for a ride this next 4 weeks in October. Welcome to October 1st, 2020. I've got a feeling over the next 4 weeks, things are going to happen that are going to be world-changing and certainly world-revealing. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next Better Tune In. Until then, have a great morning, day, sleep, feast, run, whatever you're doing to really savor life and be present. Because if you're thinking too much that way, forward, and thinking too much back that way, you're not here. So get here. All right. Bye, guys.